Interesting. Kenya joined the protest to release Nnamdi Kanu, sent delegates to support Førçé on October 20th. My people, hey, make una come hear something. Oh, Kenya government. Government don't carry another one enter the street. In fact, this very time they said that I think Førçé is doing the needful, so we need to give him a support. Don't forget that on Mobilization today, the 15th of October, he has stormed the market, one of the very big markets we have in Nigeria, Abuja precisely. In fact, though he has started storming different markets since on the 11th, today is another market, and one of the markets is stormed, is one of the biggest markets, and he is telling them to shut down their shops on the 20th of October because everybody must march to Aso Rock to protest for the freedom of the IPOP leader. Now, Kenyan government on their own part have said, okay, I think this guy is doing the right thing. We must give him that support, and so that's very support. We will need some of our delegates to go to Nigeria, and believe me, then don't enter Nigeria. Serious tension. Make una hear something, my people. Make we go inside the video. Make una watch them. Don't blink an eye.
The face that showed both pain and determination. His eyes were sharp, his tone steady, and his heart heavy with anger over what was happening in Nigeria. It was not the first time he had spoken about freedom in Africa, but this time, his message was different. It was stronger, deeper, and aimed directly at one man, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria. He began by saying that Africa has kept quiet for too long. For years, people have watched their brothers and sisters suffer in silence while leaders act without mercy. He said that silence has become a disease that has allowed injustice to grow across the continent. Now, he said, that silence must end. Ruto looked around and said in a calm but powerful voice, "We are not children anymore. We are not a continent that should remain quiet while our people are suffering." The case of Nnamdi Kanu has gone beyond Nigeria. It has become an African issue. It is not just about one man. It is about justice, it is about freedom, and it is about respect for the truth. He paused for a moment as the crowd listened closely. Then he continued, "Every African knows what it means to fight for freedom. We have seen what colonialism did to us. We have watched as our own leaders repeat the same things the colonizers once did. They arrest those who speak, they silence those who protest, and they punish those who demand fairness. But this must stop. Nnamdi Kanu deserves to be free." Ruto's words carried emotion, and people could feel that he was speaking from the heart. He said that keeping quiet makes everyone guilty, because when a person sees injustice and says nothing, they become part of it. He reminded everyone that Africa's strength does not lie in money or weapons, but in the unity of its people and the truth they stand for. Then Ruto turned his message directly to the Nigerian government. His tone changed. It became firmer, colder, and clearer. "President Tinubu," he said, "you have a choice to make. You can choose peace, or you can choose pride. You can choose justice, or you can choose oppression. But whatever choice you make, remember this. The world is watching, and Africa is no longer silent. Release Nnamdi Kanu, or prepare for what is coming. Because injustice cannot rule forever." The crowd shouted in support. The sound of their voices rose high, echoing through the air. But Ruto did not stop there. He kept speaking with courage, his voice growing stronger with each word. "We are all Africans. Whether you are from Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, or South Africa, we are one people. When one of us is in chains, none of us is free. When one African is treated unfairly, it weakens the whole continent. That is why we must speak with one voice today, the voice of freedom." He reminded everyone that Africa was built on the blood of brave men and women who fought against slavery and colonial rule. He said they did not fight so that their children would remain silent in the face of oppression. They fought so that we could stand up, speak the truth, and defend what is right. If they could risk their lives for freedom, then we can risk our comfort for justice, Ruto declared. He called on African leaders to stop pretending that everything is fine while their people suffer. We cannot call ourselves leaders if we are afraid of the truth. We cannot claim to love our nations when we keep our citizens in pain. A leader who fears the voice of the people is not a leader, he is a prisoner of his own power. Ruto's message was not filled with hate, but with truth. He said that he did not want war, but he also would not allow injustice to continue without speaking against it. Nigeria must understand that peace comes from justice, he said. If you continue to ignore the cries of the people, you are building a storm that you cannot control. We are not asking for bloodshed, we are asking for fairness. We are asking for freedom. And if those in power refuse to listen, then they will face the anger of the people. He told the crowd that Nnamdi Kanu's freedom was not just about one man's rights. It was about the soul of Africa. It was about the future of every young person who dreams of a free and fair continent. If we allow injustice to continue in one country, it will spread to others, he said. If we allow one leader to act like a god, others will follow his steps. That is why we must stop this now. That is why Nigeria must do what is right. Ruto's words were shared across the continent within hours. People from different countries began to talk about what he said. Many praised his courage, calling him the voice of a new Africa, an Africa that would no longer bow to fear or silence. He ended his speech with one final statement that echoed across the world. The time for fear is over. The time for silence is gone. If Nigeria continues to hold Nnamdi Kanu, then Nigerians must get ready for a storm. Because Africa will not be quiet anymore. We will rise together for justice, for freedom, and for truth. And with that, Ruto walked off the stage, leaving behind a message that no one could ignore, a warning to Tinubu, a call to Africa, and a promise that silence would never rule again. When President William Ruto's message reached Nigeria, it spread like wildfire. His bold words were replayed on radios, televisions, and social media across the nation. Many Nigerians were surprised that an African leader had spoken so openly and fearlessly about Nnamdi Kanu's case. Some people were filled with hope and joy, while others were nervous about what might follow. But one thing was clear, Ruto's voice had shaken the silence that had lasted too long. In homes, streets, and markets, people discussed his speech. Some said Ruto was brave, others said he was only saying what everyone was afraid to say. For the first time in a long while, Nigerians felt that someone outside their country truly cared about what was happening to them. People said things like, "At last, someone has spoken for us. Someone has said what our own leaders refused to say." Ruto's statement reached even the offices of Nigerian politicians. Some tried to ignore it, pretending it was just empty talk. But deep down, they knew that his words had touched a nerve. The warning he gave to President Tinubu was strong, and it could not be brushed aside. It carried the weight of truth, and the world was listening. In another public address days later, Ruto made his message even clearer.
This message is actually coming from Ruto, the incumbent president of Kenya. You heard everything he said. That is to tell you that Kenya is giving their full support, their full self for this very movement, to make sure that the freedom of the IPOP leader is declared. Whether Nigerian government like it or not, the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu will be declared. So, my dear listeners, this is no longer a child's play. 20th of October is a live protest. There will be no arrest because already letters have been written to all the agencies. So whether some persons are in support or against, now then Sabi, everything is open. Yes, everything is open. So make una hear this very message. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and also send this very message to the public. Thank you.